Welcome to this episode of Breakthrough Souls. On this edition, I want to talk about what is spirituality and what is a spiritual awakening. And I'll also talk about my spiritual awakening too and kind of how it all fits together. But one of the reasons I want to talk about this, because that's kind of what this channel's about people waking up spiritually. And I've watched many YouTube videos on spirituality as well as read books and things like that. But it seems like people don't normally define it in what we're talking about. So I just wanted to dive into that and get it kind of sorted out as to what my perspective is. So just to jump into what is spirituality, I have looked up the definition a few times on the internet, and it's kind of all over the place. And at least a couple high level dictionaries or well known dictionaries talk about it in a like it's religious of somehow. But I think everybody knows people can be religious and not spiritual, and people can be spiritual without being religious. So they're not necessarily correlated together or related together. But I mean, there are some I can see why they overlap, of course. But so spirituality, and looking up the definitions, I did find one from a woman named Brené Brown, which a lot of people will know that name. She is a kind of a thought leader. She's written a lot of books, does a lot of talks, TED Talks. I think from my experience, I have heard of her through my women friends. So a lot of, maybe she's like the Tony Robbins in a way, or I mean, I think she's pretty powerful, or Oprah Winfrey. She's like another Oprah Winfrey. And a lot of, I think people are attracted to her take on things. I believe she's a Texan, or she lives in Texas. And my impression is she's straightforward and just kind of no nonsense and really says it how it is. Although I don't know too much about her. My sister does follow her and loves her and keeps recommending her books, which I do need to check out, because I'm sure she has a lot to offer. But when I was researching the definition of spirituality, I came up with a definition she created and put in one of her books. And that is, and I'll read it here because I think for me right now, this is about as good as I could say it. And it goes: spirituality is recognizing and celebrating that we are all inextricably connected to each other by a power greater than all of us, and that our connection to that power and to one another is grounded in love and compassion. Practicing spirituality brings a sense of perspective, meaning, and purpose to our lives. That's pretty good. I don't feel like I could say it too much better than that. So I think that's, of course I could expand on it, and that's what we're going to do in this podcast, but that's a good start. So I think that's a good place to start for the definition of spirituality. And then it begs the question, I think, what's a spiritual awakening? So I think it would be helpful if I explained my spiritual awakening, and then we can kind of talk about that in general. So I did, it was about 11 months ago, maybe even starting about a year ago. I decided I was going to do a guided psilocybin plant medicine journey. So guided meaning with a guide, with somebody for the day. And my intention was to have a mystical experience, because I'd been watching a lot of near-death experience videos for what they were bringing back spiritually. And is my quest for searching for more meaning and maybe trying to understand, is there life after death, consciousness after death? And after watching them, I do believe that there is consciousness and life after death. And go into that in another video. But so I had that. I mean, I could feel it. Like my intuition said, yes, that's true. But I'm the kind of person who wants to have the experience. So part of me is very, I think, I can use my intuition pretty well, but I also want the data. I also want the experience. So in my research, there was some overlap with people having psychedelic experiences, kind of intentional psychedelic experiences, which are on the rise, where people are, it used to be, it still is, I guess, illegal and they, outlawed it, made it, psychedelics really like, oh, it's horrible and all this stuff. But it's actually therapeutic, and that's why cultures around the world, indigenous cultures around the world, have been using plant medicines for thousands of years, maybe who knows how long, but they've been using it to tap into source or wisdom, and yeah, and probably helps develop the cultures, and has created the world we live in now in many ways. So I noticed a connection there, that what people were getting out of certain psychedelic experiences, they were getting out of near death experiences. Not always, but but it was pretty profound. And so I thought, okay, I could do that. That's something I could do, and I don't need to be in a car crash or, have some traumatic experience in order to maybe have a mystical experience. So I took it very seriously because I had never done psychedelics before. Was scared, um, and and so what I did was I followed the advice to the T of my guide, which was eat healthy, turn off the news, and start journaling about what you're trying to get out of this. What are you trying to heal from, or what are you trying to what are you what are you trying to expand into, or find more meaning in? So I did that for, I think, a month beforehand, and then went into the first session, and it was a fairly high dose, so it was intense, and I did three guided sessions altogether. And what I came back with were several things over the three. One was, um, I could I decided I wanted to work on my anger towards my mother, mostly after the divorce of my father, where I felt neglected, and then I developed, yeah, anger essentially, and that was lingering in my whole life, and it was showing up in other areas too. Um, and I think it was mostly directed inward too, a lot of it, because I'm not a violent person, or a mean person, and so I think a lot of it was directed towards myself. And so I wanted to release that, and I was getting tired of being angry at my mother, too. So as she was getting older, and my father as well, he was getting older. So I just didn't want to be with them and frustrated and angry all the time. I just wanted to be with them and forget trying to change them. So I was working on that. That was kind of what I decided to work on once we started the session, and I not only figured out what forgiveness was, which was, it was a deep feeling, and there's a visual too to it for me, and I could see a pattern, and I could see why my mom was the way she was, and so I had this objective experience with her pain, and so I could release that, like, oh, it's not, she's just playing out a pattern, and she couldn't control it, and I think she wanted to, and it ended up eating her alive, essentially. Um, but yeah, I could feel the forgiveness. I could see the forgiveness, and I could feel the letting go of the stuck energy that I'm calling anger, this low vibration. I could let it flow out and not have it be a part of me. I could take my attention off of it, so I could focus on something else, letting something else in, like a higher vibration. So that was profound. And after the first experience too, there was a few days where I was walking around feeling a oneness, hard to explain. I felt connected to everything, and I was just walking around, like I felt um, like I had reached enlightenment in a way where I could see people and I could read their energies, but I wasn't their energy. Like in my normal life, I'll see somebody's energy and I kind of absorb it. I'm like, oh, it's hard. But no, that was profound too. That feeling, I'll never forget that. And then in subsequent ones, I also felt a profound sense of appreciation for myself, for working on myself and sticking with myself, not giving up on myself. Like, wow. And I was proud of myself. That was healing as well. Like, I mean, it's hard to explain the feeling that these things come with, because it raises the vibration. So everything's raising my vibration inside me. I also learned about attention and intention. Um, so, where is my attention? And removing that from watching the news, or or something that's social media, and putting it on myself. And what does that mean, putting it on myself? With an intention of taking care of myself. So my attention is now on myself, and now I'm going to pay attention more to the times where I feel high vibration, like gratitude and appreciation and things like that. So I'm starting to cultivate this energy in me, this higher vibration in me. I'm like, ooh, that's a superpower. And it's also a super weakness if somebody takes your attention, or that you let them take your attention unknowingly, um, and you're not using that power for yourself. You're directing it at something else externally. Ooh, that's amazing how somebody can do that. And paying attention to that, how you have the power to take your attention back and put it on yourself and take care of yourself. That's powerful. Um, Yes. So, and I call that power a higher vibration. Call it, sometimes I'll just say love, but love has different aspects when I say it that way. It part of it's gratitude, appreciation, whatever a high vibration is, high vibration feeling that you want to attach to it. Call it love vibration, high vibration. Um, and I think the paradox of this work that we do when we're trying to bring this higher vibration in is that you can't force it. It's not going to force itself upon you, and you can't take it and use it forcefully. It's something you have to invite in and cultivate and partner with. And it's more powerful than low vibration energy, anger, fear, and things like that. But it's tricky because you need to be in a relaxed, receiving state in order to invite it in. And when you do that, you realize it's so powerful. And when you tap into this and you let it spend more time in your body, because it takes time, a lot of time and work to do this. When you let it tap in and spend more time in your body, now you can start tapping into your own wisdom, right? And this is where people start to realize they can figure out their own life's purpose. You don't need somebody to tell you, because now you're starting to get to know yourself, and your own wisdom is coming through. And that wisdom, that connection with your wisdom is also connected to universal wisdom. Things like, now I know that what this power is universal. Everybody has access to it. And then when the other paradox that I already, I don't know if my paradox was clear, but the paradox is, you relax into it. It can't be forced on you, but you have to cultivate it in yourself. And then when you do, you spend time taking care of yourself, then you emanate it outwards, and then it's shared and multiplied. So it's not a selfish thing that you're doing. It's actually benefiting other people. And when you're with somebody else that's vibrating higher, the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. The energy is greater than the sum of the parts. And that essentially, this power, which is tricky to kind of let in and grow and get a hold of in today's world, where your attention is being taken away from you. It's so easy to distract people from tapping into this energy that you have a right to, that is who you really are. It is your right. It's not a big conspiracy, but it's very easy to guilt people into paying attention to the news, paying attention to politics, seeing war, or just any social media, anything that takes your attention and turns it outward and angers you or makes you depressed. Basically, the negative low vibration. Now you're attacking yourself with depression and not paying attention to taking care of yourself. Then you're not. You're distracted and thinking you don't have power. You're distracted and not taking care of yourself, but you have the power to do so. So this is like an aha moment for me. This is a spiritual awakening. This is a spiritual awakening, realizing how powerful you are, how powerful this energy is, and how tricky it is. I don't know if that's the right word, but how you have to have the right conditions to invite it in, because love energy isn't forced. It's not angry. It's not hateful. It's something that is, it will always ask to be invited in. And it's up to you to expand it and partner with it. I hope this makes sense. And then the low vibrations are just easy to get in the mindset of, whether it's alcohol, drugs, this and that and the other thing. And so the more we also recognize that we have this power, we are responsible for ourselves, and that, wait a minute, if I just took a moment, I could take care of myself. I'm in a good spot to do that. Um, then waking up and realizing you can do that is, whoa, I can turn this around. Because when you start doing this work, and it's work, I mentioned that I think already, it takes time, but I feel so much better. I feel lighter. I feel more connected. I feel like I'm connecting to my life's purpose, and I realize this is ongoing work. There'll be, I'll have more aha moments coming down the road. But it's just it's such beautiful work to do in my life. And I invite everybody to tap into what is rightfully yours, this energy. Now, there's going to be people, of course, that are in bad spots where it's hard to do that. Maybe they're in war, or maybe they're being violated somehow physically and mentally. But it's up to the people that do have the time and the space to take those little moments at a time to take care of themselves, to vibrate higher and share that energy. And then when I'm in a low vibrating spot, something happens. Like, I hurt my back recently, and I was like, oh my God. But I did actually meditate, and I mean, I couldn't get up, and it was incredibly painful. And I had a horrible experience with the healthcare system. It's getting angry. But when I'm vibrating low, I want other people who are in a good spot to share the vibration with me. So I want to partner with people that we're all working together, and more people are waking up now more than ever on the planet. So believe it or not, good things are happening, and people are out there for you to connect with. So it's up to us to, once we do awaken, then we work on um, integrating what we know, and taking it into the 3D world, and being high vibration in our everyday lives, because we still have to do the laundry. There's a book about that. You wake up and do the laundry, stuff to do the laundry and dishes and things like that, and go to work. But the idea is to start to uh, empower yourself and take care of yourself more, and start to create a new world that we want to live in, that is based on love and compassion, not power and money. So, and I'll have more to say on this, but I am optimistic about the future. And so I hope that you follow me along for this ride, because there's so much about integrating, healing. We still have to do healing, perhaps, and envisioning, um, and what's next. What does the world look like next? There's people working on this, on how we're going to live, and what's going to happen in the transition, right? Because this transition is happening, and a lot of people go, I don't get it. I can't see, because we are so stuck in the moment of despair. And when we start to vibrate higher and move to a different way of living, the old system's going to fight back even harder. So it's going to seem even crazier. But your birthright is this feeling that is empowering and powerful, very powerful. So I would say, kind of to cap it off, that you have the power, and you're a very powerful being. And it does take work. It's taken me months to turn around and realize, aha, I had a spiritual awakening, and this is really powerful stuff. And I keep learning, and I keep connecting the dots with other people that I hear talking about spirituality, and I'm like, that's exactly what I downloaded. And now, I'm coming into it where I wasn't really that involved before in the spiritual community. And so when I do tap into somebody talking, whether it's what's the essence of Jesus, what's the essence of Buddha, the Course in Miracles, and all this, and I listen to this, or somebody had an NDE and they came back with information, somebody had a psychedelic experience and came back with information, it's all connected. It's all connected. We're all essentially saying the same thing. So, and that you have a direct connection with this source and power. You don't have to go through anybody in order to connect with your power. You have a direct connection. You can create that direct alignment with yourself and the source energy, and you can call it whatever you want: God, source energy, universal wisdom. It's yours. It's your birthright. It's who you are. It's where we come from. It's where we're going back to. And it's beautiful. So it's worth it. It's worth the work, and it's worth this journey. So thanks. I hope I hope this was inspiring. I hope it was entertaining to some degree. I'm new at this, so I'm going to continue to post some videos with some thoughts and make it all. I'm going to try to connect the dots too. So I do like to say, take care of yourself, and the rest. What do I say? Take care of yourself, and everything else will fall into place. Take care of yourself, and everything else will fall into place. Talk to you in the next episode.